5 minutes before midnight, the house always went dark. That was the first rule. No one posted it online. No one mentioned it in the rental description, but everyone who had ever spent New Year's Eve in that house learned it the same way. The lights died every year, always at 11:55. The house stood on the edge of the city, where the street lights thinned out and the snow swallowed sound. People said it was old wiring, but the wiring had never failed at any other time of year. Terrace arrived with his friends just before sunset on December 31st. A cheap rental. No neighbors. No noise complaints. The sky was unnaturally clear, as if the clouds had been erased. Inside, the house felt warm. Too warm. A Christmas tree stood in the corner, already there when they arrived. It was undecorated except for a few old strings of lights that flickered even when unplugged. The clock on the wall ticked strangely. The second hand didn't move smoothly. It hesitated. At 11:55, the temperature dropped. Breath turned to mist. Dark stains appeared on the walls, shaped like handprints pressed from the inside. Then the lights went out. The darkness lasted exactly 10 seconds. When the light returned, only a single bulb in the hallway was on. It didn't brighten the space. It sharpened the shadows. That was when the counting started. Soft, whispered, not coming from any one person. 27, 28, 29. Terrace looked at his friends. None of them were speaking. Their mouths were closed, their faces pale. At 30, the mirror in the hallway trembled. The reflection lagged behind reality by a fraction of a second. Then another. Then another. Something appeared in the mirror. Tall. Too tall. Its arms hung lower than they should, bending in places arms shouldn't bend. It stood directly behind Terrace. He turned. The hallway was empty. But in the mirror, the thing smiled. Its mouth opened wider than a human jaw could stretch, and the counting continued. Louder now. 31. 32. The clock stopped. The second hand fell downward like something dead. At exactly midnight, the house howled. Not from outside, but from within its walls. The ceiling creaked as if footsteps were moving above them, even though there was no second floor. The mirror now held more reflections than people in the room. That was when Terrace understood too late. The house wasn't welcoming the new year. It was counting it in. Counting who wouldn't make it past the final second. Terrace didn't remember escaping. He woke up at dawn in the snow, hundreds of meters from the house. His phone lay beside him, cracked and dead. When it powered on later, there was one unread notification. 0. Congratulations, you didn't make it. His friends were gone. No blood, no signs of a struggle. The police blamed panic, alcohol, bad decisions. But Terrace knew the truth. They were taken the moment the count ended. He stayed away from that part of the city for almost a year. Until the next new year. A week before December 31st, the signs began. Every clock in his apartment stopped at 11:55. The television turned on by itself, showing a hallway identical to the one in that house. Once, in the reflection of his window, he saw a hand resting on his shoulder. Cold, heavy. The whisper returned. 2021. It wasn't in his head, it was coming from the walls. The count had started again. This time for him. Terrace went back to the house alone. The snow lay untouched, as if no one had been there for years. Inside, the warmth greeted him again. The tree was still there. Now it was decorated. The ornaments were faces. Frozen faces of his friends, eyes wide, mouths open in silent terror, swaying gently as if the house itself was breathing. The clock showed 11:55. The mirror in the hallway darkened, and the thing stepped out. Its body was made of reflections, shards of people who had once looked into that mirror during the final minutes of the year. It had let him go before for a reason. He wasn't a survivor, he was a messenger. At midnight, the house shook. The counting rose into a chorus. Mivot. 4. 3 Terrace smashed the mirror. The glass shattered, but the reflections didn't disappear. They crawled across the walls, the ceiling, the floor, trying to pull themselves back together. He ran. He crossed the threshold in the final second. A few days later, a new listing appeared online. New Year's house for rent, cheap. In small text below, lights turn off 5 minutes before midnight. Somewhere in the city, someone was already counting.